Good time zone, everybody, and welcome to another 12 frames per second. I guess third time's the charm because now welcome to Let's Try This Again, where, on God, we're gonna get a good reaction to a fucking love confession, I swear to God. Um,
We
Matthias,
are shoving these two together like fucking Barbie dolls.
we
God damn it.
really are, and they're trying. God bless them, they're trying. Um, Hi, I'm Hex. I'm playing Matthias, as we all know. And I'm joined by.
Hi, I'm RJ. I'm playing Decimal.
Yep. And it's been. Whoo lordy, it's been a time. So, like, just, I guess, spoilers for the last 4 FPSs that have happened, first of all. 5 FPSs. There's been 5. Christ alive, this is an event.
Won the whole mini saga while we weren't looking. What
It
the fuck?
really did. Like, I didn't expect these two to be so bad at romance. It's fine. Everything's
God.
fine. Matthias has been talking with his therapist, um, and he had a very long, very impromptu session of talking and trying to, like, work out why he reacted the way he did, and if, like, there were a bunch of if or whys and and a bunch of, like, not necessarily whys, but more of just why nots. And it it was it was very enlightening, and he eventually got, like, partway through this session, because I imagine it was a very long session that he had. um
hmm
he ended up getting a pen and paper out and just writing, like, things he was wanting to say but having trouble wording, and, like, getting expectations for what he quote unquote wanted in a romance. He's even that is, like, giving me blue screen in his brain because he's got no fucking ideas. He knows what's expected in romance, and yeah. So, long story short, Matthias has like 3 or 4 lists now of shit that he wants to say to Decimal, and that he's going to do his best to not fuck up because he realizes he kind of reacted very poorly last time, and he also maybe should apologize for that. He shouldn't, but he's going to. Uh and
hmm
so he is waiting for Decimal, like he normally does when they do their walkies. So he's waiting at his window, just kind of keeping an eye out, an ear out, to see when Decimal approaches.
Hey, you wanna roll a fun little medicine check for me?
Oh God. Okay. Well, good thing you have that. That is a 15 on the dice, which is not bad. Plus your medicine, which is a +9, so that's a 24.
Thick, nasty. Hey, yeah, he should not be fucking walking right now.
Cool.
He is. He looks bad, dude. Like
Cool.
he's noticed. Like even on bad days, he can still kind of keep to a normal pace. Um, even if it like keeping fully to a normal pace is impossible for him, but he's still like relatively quick on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He's currently slow ass limping.
Cool.
And leaning very heavily on his cane, which seems to also not be helping very much. So
Cool.
it's probably, hands and leg.
Cool. Cool. Um, so he sees this and does a very, like, to the heavens kind of, why today? And then he will run down to greet Decimal, um, and immediately shift one of these plans, which was he initially was going to say, let's go back to the clearing that Decimal took him to. Um, no, that's not happening anymore. Um, in fact, you're gonna go to Matthias's room, Decimal, and we're gonna talk in there.
Oh no. Okay. Yep. Sure. um,
Unless you want to go to unless thinks he can make it well, it's not a he thinks he can make it to the cafe, unless it's he would rather go to the cafe. um but Matthias is going to open the door, see this, and just say, you could have I could have come to you, you know.
I've been kind of everywhere, so this was easier.
Okay. um in that case, the cafe or my
The
bedroom?
cafe.
All right.
The cafe.
All right. And so he is going to he's gonna, step out and walk with Decimal. God, part of him wants to offer an arm just for Decimal to have something better to lean on, but I don't know if he would take that.
He reads that, and because Matthias can't keep a fucking thing off his face.
No, he can't.
He reads that intent, and just kind of quietly goes, "That probably won't help, but if you could be so kind as to spare a healing, that would be appreciated."
I can do that, yes. And so he'll extend a hand, and we'll get you a cure wounds at, I guess I mean, the level doesn't matter, so we'll get you a first level cure wounds.
That nasty.
And that's just a D8. Boop.
You gay motherfucker.
Oh.
You went from 10 to a 2.
So, oh, hang on. I gotta throw a cat out. Naughty boys, don't get behind my monitor. Okay, so that ended up being a 6 on the dice. Oops. Plus his modifier, which is a 5, so that's 11 Heelys.
Like nasty. The
To-
Heelys for his feelies.
Yeah.
It's almost Pavlovian, kind of. Well, I'm probably no. That's not. No, I'm not using that word correctly. It's almost Skinnerian, I guess. um, like Matthias can tell when the healing hits, because like Decimal had been maintaining his usual facade, although with the medicine check, Matthias could see the pain in it.
Mm-hmm.
Decimal's shoulders drop a solid inch, and you suddenly realize, oh yeah, that calmness was 100% faked.
Yeah.
um, he stops leaning quite so heavily on his cane, pauses to kind of adjust his weight and shift his leg a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and goes, "Thank you."
Happy to. And he'll fall in step as they make their way over just next door to the cafe.
Cool.
Yep. Where they sit and get their drinks, Matthias with his coffee and Decimal with his hot chocolate. And Decimal, just for shiggles, roll me an insight.
Sure. That's a 19 on the dice.
Jesus
Plus, is
fuck.
it 13 now?
Jesus
It
fuck.
is 13 now, so that's 29,
32. 32. Jesus fuck, my guy. Matthias is, I mean, let's be real. He is vibrating in his chair right now. With, you can very clearly see he has a lot of things he wants to say, but also much probably like how Decimal is when words are hard. Words are hard, and he is doing him best with that whole 9 charisma to try and figure out how to begin this whole thing. And Decimal, you get hit with the very real possibility that he's just gonna blurt something and it's gonna be awkward and it's gonna be like, it's gonna be worded terribly, and then he's gonna very likely backtrack it and actually get to what he wants to say. But oh god, yeah, no, there's gonna be something very worded very badly that he's gonna blurt. Uh, Probably.
Decibel like nods. He's like propped his cane up against the edge of the table, so he very calmly wraps his hands around his hot chocolate, looks Matthias in the eye, and goes, "Say it terribly, and then we'll work from there."
Uh, oh, okay. Uh, and then he kind of thinks a little bit more, fumbles, uh, looks like he's about to reach into his pocket for something, decides, no, I'm not gonna do that. Um, and then puts his hands on the table, then grips his coffee mug, and just says, I. I'm bad at words. Um, I. And I've been talking with Gregory and my therapist. Uh, and I I feel like I should apologize.
What for?
Um, for how I reacted last time. Um, I and then he kind of winces because it's just he's having a time. I handled that poorly.
Well, you weren't the only one, in your defense, but carry on.
Um, and so like I said, I've been talking with Gregory and Dr. Litatha, and they 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 kind of helped a little. I think they helped figure out of uh, I don't. I'm scared. He finally just like slumps, like, there he said it kind of deal.
That works.
Yo.
There is a brief pause as that hangs, and then very, very quietly, Decimal goes, "I am too."
And Matthias kind of takes a second and then slowly nods his head like, yeah, that okay. That's but he again kind of he taps his fingers on his cup and then says, "I don't know what I can give. I a lot of a lot of things are scary for me, and I'm 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 working on getting better at it, but uh, I don't know how much I could give right now. Um, and I, that is, I'm not saying how did Gregory word it? And he actually, like, fumbles around in his pocket, uh, and Decimal, I'm still rolling, well, with your passive perception, because I know it's stupid. You can see that there are,
9.
yep,
28, sorry.
yeah, it's stupid. There are a couple sheets of paper that he's, like, flicking through, like, trying to find the one that Gregory and him were working on. Uh, and eventually he seems to find it because he gives a small snort and goes, "Right." He termed it glacial. Uh, just it slow, very slow. Uh, try to if I mean that is I and then he realizes he should backtrack and get to the real point, which was you I I feel the same, but it we uh might need to be very slow. And he kind of looks at Decimal when he says that.
We are both. We put it very bluntly. We are both supremely fucked up people. If it wasn't going to be you, it was going to be me. I I could not give someone a typical relationship. My fucked upness prevents that, but that's not working in our favor here. Um, what we need is not quite what perhaps the ordinary person would desire in a partner, but it might just work for us.
it yeah, he there were there was a lot of and he again looks, fumbles, like flicks through those pages again. We it may not even be a traditional partnership. The term queer platonic got used a couple of times. Uh, and maybe that's. I mean, I don't know. The fact. It might not even fit that. I don't know. But just. It's. It's different.
Yes.
And, I the thought is terrifying. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Um, but I think the only thing more terrifying is not trying.
Um, I suppose so.
For me, and he winces because for me it is. Sorry,
Oh no, that's I understand. I think, or at least as much as I can understand without being able to empathize.
he nods. I they both seem to sigh at the same time.
Yeah. You can roll insight as well if you want, just for just a little
Hey,
sympathy thing.
hey, let's see. Ooh, that's not good. I don't think that beats it.
Well, this isn't necessarily to beat something. It's just for a little thing.
Okay. Well,
What's the
unfortunately, that's a 6 on the dice, so that's a uh 15 total.
okay, 15 total. Right. Okay. Matthias, Decimal has been very quiet this whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you've had as much room and time as you've needed to formulate your words and your thoughts. Um, you think, although you can't be 100% certain reading it from him, but you think that's intentional. Like, he has his own thoughts on the matter, but he's giving you space and time to get yours out before he adds anything on.
Okay. Okay. And okay. Um, I think he kind of catches, realizes that this is what Decimal is doing, and he takes in a breath, seems stealing his nerves, because yep, and he then sighs and just says, I want to say something specific, but I can't do it unless I read it. And he is turning red because he realizes how that sounds.
If you need to use a pre-prepared script, then by all means, far be it from me to look down upon someone for having words prepared in advance. It's like 90% of my job.
He does let out a little huff laugh, but again pulls out a sheet. There's not a lot written on it that you can see. It only looks like a sentence or two, unless he decides to say more. But that's, it just looks like a sentence or two, and he uh, holds it and then just very carefully reads. I care about you, and I want to try having a relationship with you. Whatever that may be. And I want to try for as long as you are willing to try. And if it turns out that it doesn't work, that is all right. I still would I I wouldn't think any less of either of us if that ended up being the case. But I would like to try. And then he kind of like squeezes the paper and looks at Decimal and just kind of patiently waits.
That works. Okay. Yep. He kind of parses that, his eyes closed in thought, nods a little bit, and then reaches into his pocket and pulls out a little notepad and a stick of charcoal and goes, I am evidently incapable of having typical relationships, so how's this? We can hash out what it is exactly that we are not desiring or perhaps capable of, and we can suss out boundaries from that and then see what space that gives us to work with.
Yeah, okay. And he actually he pulls out another sheet because he and Gregory made a fucking list. And
Fucking throwback Thursday to when Gregory and Decimal did this for their
yep,
lookbacks.
yep, yep, yep. And Decimal, you can see things like there's there's two columns here on this one sheet. One is labeled in quotation marks, and it looks like a lot of quotation marks, you think, and it looks like Gregory's handwriting, and it just says normal people. And there's a lot of things that are like listed, and a lot of it is physical, and a lot of it is like it's what you would expect of a traditional relationship, you know, like holding hands, uh actually kissing one another, having like have like supporting one another, etc etc etc. Like it's a lot of these, and then on the other column it just says what I want. And yeah, there's some things from that list on there, like again, like supporting each other. There's a very there's question marks abound on like hand holding, and then even more on kiss, and then that one seems to be crossed out, like no, not yet, not ready for that yet. uh
Mm-hmm.
and so he has a list of like what he what like most relationships are, and then what he thinks he can handle, but he's not even sure because it's a lot of question marks.
Nothing, yeah. uh, Decimal looks at that and goes, "Oh, good, you came prepared." And then puts aside his notepad, and then like gestures like, "Hey, scoot that one over so I can take a look."
Yep, and he's turning red because he kind of realizes it's such a nerdy thing to make a fucking list, but he does slide the paper over there.
Hey, if it works, it works. There's like zero judgment on Decimal's face.
Which is
'Cause this is literally what he was about to suggest. So
yeah,
like, you know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
something contracts. Anyway, um,
Mm-hmm.
Decimal like looks down the list, and then grabs the charcoal, and then very quickly just like draws a line down, and it's not the straightest line. Even moving quickly, where you're naturally going to have less shakiness, it's still kind of wobbly.
Yeah.
Um,
God, he's got terrible handwriting. That's right.
he's got shit handwriting, which is why he's so glad that he doesn't have to write this down
Yeah.
himself. Uh, there is, he like writes something in the teeny little column he's made for himself. It looks like a third grader with a crayon for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and hey, well, Matthias knows of Decimal's history. It's not hard to guess that he wasn't taught how to write.
Yeah.
Um, and then the fucking damage to his hands did not help.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
he starts going down the list. And as he's going through, there's a lot of X's.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of like goes out loud. Okay, most everything physical is out. I can hold hands, maybe, but that's probably as far as I can go.
Matthias nods and he says, I I feel kind of, I think we're in a similar boat there. I'm getting better at general physicality, but I I have to know it's coming. Um,
Well, you're doing better than I am, so congratulations. Let's see. Some of these are kind of vague. What do you mean by supporting each other
uh,
here?
it, I mean, kind of how, kind of how, uh, Mayor Macabre and Mr. Ash are, they've, they've got each other's backs. They, I don't know how to word it, but they're always in each other's corner, kinda.
I see. There is there is something written by that one if you want to roll.
He's gonna, yeah. What do you even
Linguistics
roll?
isn't a skill in 5e. Um, intelligence with proficiency if you've got calligraphy supplies proficiency.
Oh, do I? Ooh. I can't remember what I gave him. No, I gave him painter's tools.
Fuck it, good enough.
Okay.
Roll intelligence plus proficiency mod.
Okay. Oh, honey.
Oh,
That's a 5 on the dice, so that's plus his intelligence is 2 plus 4, so that's an 11.
you think the first word is I'll, but you're not quite sure what the other word is,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Mhm.
It's just the perfect storm of fucking inability to write legibly. Um, he keeps scrolling down the list. There's more the mental side of things. He does kind of pause at things like, always being honest. He
Yep.
does like put an X down next to, but there is very much a I'm sorry in the way that he does that.
It
Other things like fucking
I don't think it would be always be honest. I think it would be honesty slash openness, which still is
yeah,
not like it's
his forte, but he'll try.
yeah, like it's not like it's still not Decimal's forte to be honest or open, but like it's not so like clear cut of like demanding for always honesty. There is one, and you can tell Craigery wrote this one because it's at the top of the list, that just says keep try not to keep secrets.
Ooh, that one gets left blank.
Yeah. and
It,
you know why it got written. Like,
yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, the open and honesty one, there is an X, but there is a another little written note. Again, you can't make heads or tails out of.
yeah,
It's the same as the first one though, so maybe given some time and some assistance from Gregory, you'll
he can
be able
parse
to
out
find
what
out what
it
it says.
says. Does it say
Yeah.
I'll try?
Yes, it does.
I figured as much. Yeah.
um. Yeah, there's a few kind of the more stereotypical ones. He pauses at like gives gifts. There's like a pause at a snicker and a very easy tick. And then like pet names. He pauses
That one
to
has been
look at Matthias
that one
like,
had been crossed out.
yeah, I think not. And then puts a cross down himself.
There's Matthias actually sees like the gift giving and then kind of comments like, I did look into, Gregory mentioned love languages, and so did Dr. Litatha. I did look into that. I still don't understand a lot of it, but I the gift giving seemed appropriate.
As far as I understand it, it's some horseshit to do with how people receive and give affection. I don't fucking know. I only know it in as far as I need to for my job of fleecing people on the regular. Um, it's fairly easy to tell. Well, it's fairly easy for me to tell whether or not someone will appreciate being given a gift, or if they just want someone to spend time with them. Different kinds of loneliness get shown in different ways.
Matthias kind of nods at that. Bit of a pessimistic view to spin to put on it, but hey, that's he gets decimal, so
Decimal has never claimed to be an optimist.
yep.
He
But
is a realist at best.
he does a funny note that you do see on there um, is well a couple that are listed and they're clearly in Matthias's handwriting because again, uh, much like yours decimal, Matthias doesn't like it's nowhere near as bad, but there is it's not very good. It's not very well written because the lad did not have a lot of experience writing for the last 2 years. But
Hmm, hmm.
uh, there it's basically he does there are just additions of like continues to uh and they seem to be specific to your situation of goes like spends time together, uh doesn't need to talk because Matthias is bad at words, or is willing to talk and let me listen kind of deal. uh they're very weirdly specific and he looks a little embarrassed at when Decimal gets down to that point, but he doesn't say anything.
There's a pause, and those all get ticked, because he's a cat.
Yeah.
Anytime people, sure, just sitting in the same room together doing whatever, fine, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Not needing to talk to each other, again, fine, doesn't matter. He's more like if he's asked a question, he will answer. He might need prompting on subjects, but like he's happy to just say shit, particularly
Yeah.
gossip.
Yeah.
Fucking catty bitch that he is.
Yeah. And that's kind of like Matthias, you get the impression that Matthias likes the arrangement that you guys have currently. And so he just kind of listed that as like, yeah, this is nice. Which harkens back to Decimal's whole we don't have to change anything from the first FPS, or the third
Yeah,
FPS. But to be fair, Matthias wasn't in a very good state to comprehend that. So,
yeah. He got there in the end. That's all that matters.
yes.
Yeah. He goes through the list a couple times, and eventually the only thing that is left is the don't keep secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of pauses, charcoal in hand, hovering over that one.
Matthias, after a second, he just says, I know. I think a better wording might be if it's important to each other. And then he frowns. If it's something I should know? Still frowning, trying to find the right way to word it. Makes a
There will
frustrated sound.
there will always be things that I cannot say, and sometimes they will be relevant to you, or to me, or to people that we know. I am a demigod. It's kind of part of the territory.
He nods at that, and he eventually, I think he eventually settles on when able. When you're able, then you try not to keep secrets. Or at the very least, say that you cannot tell me.
I can do that.
And he nods.
I'll
And
try to do that anyway.
he nods. Because he knows decimal. Like, so. What about you? Is there anything. And he kind of gestures at the column decimal made.
I think everything is largely covered. I'm just debating on whether or not I should say something.
Matthias nods and patiently waits.
I am not good at judging when a person should learn information that can be emotionally charged for them. It has been my belief that you should have been told from the start about the thrall. I kept mum out of respect for Craigery's wishes. I I can't tell you everything, but I will tell you this. And I suspect Memoir might have touched on this, but the thrall is a very dangerous person who sometime in the future, I know not when, will attack the town. And when it does, we, myself and Lynn and Craig and Memoir and Hugh and Escapius, we will need to go to face them. So I need to know that you will be alright in the possibility that I don't come back.
I, um. And he had started to say something and then caught himself to let Decimal finish, and then eventually he says, "Am I not allowed to go with you?"
Decimal like opens his mouth to answer and then pauses and seems to give it some serious thought and goes, "I'm not certain. I haven't been. But then, hmm. That might just roll insight."
Hey, okay. That's a 10 plus 9, so 19.
When Decimal was talking about all that, there was something that he was kind of talking around but hadn't quite gotten the courage to say just yet.
Mm-hmm.
And you saying, "Am I allowed to come with?" has suddenly, like, it seems to have kind of sort of taken him out of the kneecaps a little bit.
Oh.
um, like, suddenly your being there has presented this whole new thing that he hadn't even thought about.
Mm-hmm.
But rather than just like a general thing, it seems to be about something very specific, which may or may not be the thing he was trying to build up courage to talk about.
Yeah. Matthias kind of tilts his head. What? Is this something you can't say?
Hold on, hold on. I need to bear with me. And he reaches into his pocket, doesn't fumble. Thank Christ, that's a 2.
Hey.
Pulls out his cards.
Matthias blinks, sits up a little bit, like, okay.
Okay. I shuffled these last time, but I'm just gonna quickly shuffle them again.
Yeah.
Didn't use them, so I don't need to technically, but it's the whole thing of it. He pulls out the cards and starts shuffling. And then he puts down a reading, and I need to quickly open the page for this because, of course, I didn't have this open when I didn't. Well, I should have.
Whoops.
I thought I'd need it last time, and then I didn't. And then I didn't realize I needed it this time, and I did.
Felt that.
So I need that one, and I need this one. Here we go. Right. Okay. Right. Which is the better version of this? Oh, it's gonna have to be a tower, isn't it? Fuck me. Okay.
Aw.
11 card spread. Here we
Oh,
go.
God.
Okay.
Yay.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So I should need that one open then. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to move some stuff to make some room. Beans. That can go over my shoulder. This can go over here. Do 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 do. Let's go to 5. Let's move my phone out the way. Why are these cards so big? So 5 and then 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's interesting. 9, 10, 11. Okay. Oh, Which one are you? You're that one. Okay. Right. Yeah. So he pulls out his cards. And he puts them in sort of a weird formation. That he makes like a cross at the first 5, and then the next 3 he puts in a line in front of him, and the next 3 he puts in a line in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, This is where I have to check all the meanings of these cards. Um, bear with me. Technical difficulties.
Yep.
Where's my tarot set? There it is. Okay. Okay, so the first card is the Six of Stars, which is the Elementalist. Um. um. So yeah, so the Elementalist, the subject, um, which is really fucking funny actually.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, or sorry, no, the Evoker, not the Elementalist, the Evoker, which is really fucking funny actually. Um, so we have the Evoker as the subject. The important past element is, oh, that's a high card as well. Shit. Is the ghost. Hold on. That's so funny. The past position. Fuck me. The third card is uh do is which that's that one. Eh. So that's the nine. That's the 9 of Swords. Where'd swords go? That's the Torturer. Yeah, that tracks. That's the opposition. Um. First possible future is of the subject is do 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 do. That is the 2 of Swords, which is the Diviner.
Ha.
Well,
Ha.
well,
Ha.
okay, yeah,
Ha.
okay, okay, yeah, okay. Uh, and the ally, friend, or boon is the 8 of Coins, which is where'd coins go? They're here. 8 of Coins is tax collector. So that's interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. Okay. So he looks at this and then looks at you and then looks back down at the reading again and goes, "Fuck." Okay, yes, that makes sense. Okay.
Matthias has a very rudimentary understanding of Taroka. He is very confused still.
Yeah, you definitely haven't seen this spread before because Decimal doesn't do this very
Yeah.
often, and Gregory doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Because Decimal hasn't taught him. This is the tower. It's a reading that I don't often use. It's also known as a divergent cross. It looks at multiple pasts and multiple futures simultaneously. Um, you start first with the basic cross, and he puts his hand over the 5 cards in the middle
Mm-hmm.
that you use to gain information about the subject, and then using that information, you look first into their past and then into their future. So, in this case, the subject is you, and he puts a hand on the evoker card. The subject is you, and it is the evoker. The stars are power and control. It's the suit of arcane mages. It's the triumph of magic and science and reason over religion. But the evoker, specifically, is magical or supernatural power that cannot be controlled, or magic used for destructive ends. I think it's the former, given your given your history and everything. I believe that's what that means. The next card, and he puts his hand over the ghost,
Yep.
is your. It's the part of your past that is most prevalent or needs to be considered when looking at this. More in your current state, this is the best. This is the biggest influence on you right now. It's the fucking ghost.
What is.
The ghost in the past position is possibly the clearest sign I have ever seen, because the ghost is the card of the past. past that has come back to haunt you.
Matthias.
This card,
Oh, go ahead.
this card, and two of those future cards, those are the most important cards in the reading. When you look at a reading, if you have high deck cards, those are the cards that you need to view it through. And being that this is part of the subject aspect of this reading, this is the most important piece. And
Matthias.
he like
Oh, go ahead.
stops and looks at it. He just like stops and looks at it, looking very like torn.
Matthias frowns because, well, and he just says, I know nothing of my past.
Roll insight. And I have to actively roll contesting deception.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I may not win no matter what. No, that's a 21.
Yeah, that's tragic. You got a 9, so it's a 10, so it's 23. Yeah,
Ah.
you don't catch the guilty look that flits across his face.
Yeah. I think he's too busy staring at the cards.
Let's continue and we can figure it out. The next card the next card is the thing that is opposing you. In this case, it's the the
Torturer.
9 of Swords. Yeah, the Torturer. Swords is aggression and violence. It's warriors, and the Torturer is someone who is irredeemably evil or sadistic.
Matthias makes a very visible, like, swallow, like, gulp, and nods.
Which does make sense for who I believe this to be about. The next card, the possible future, is the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is Paladin.
Hmm?
It's justice and vengeance for great wrongs, or those on a quest to rid the world of evil, which in this case would be coming with us to fight this role. So that we knew that. That's what this reading is looking at. The Ally Frontal Boon card is the 8 of Coins. It's a tax collector, symbolizing simultaneously corruption and honesty within a corrupt organization. Which seems somewhat out of place, but who knows. Now,
Oop, you there?
nope, can you still hear me?
Yep, there you go. Okay, you cut out.
Where did I cut out? What's the last thing you heard?
You said now, and then
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. He said now and then paused as if to consider something. My apparently did not make it through the microphone.
oh, okay.
It's all good. Yeah, he like pauses, considers, and then like shakes his head and moves on. The next part of the reading is the past, and he like holds a hand over the cards in front of him. These need to be taken together because they form an image of the past as a whole. Now, we have the One of Coins, which is the swashbuckler. We have the One of Stars, which is the transmuter. And we have the Seven of Stars, which is the illusionist. The One of Coins is an interesting card to be thrown up here. I expected the transmuter to an extent. I definitely expected the illusionist. The One of Coins, swashbuckler.
Matthias is tilting his head. What does it mean?
Well, the One of Coins is the swashbuckler. Coins is avarice, it's the desire for personal gain, it's accumulation of wealth for the benefit of just causes, or the worst aspects of greed. The swashbuckler in particular is those who like money but give it up freely, or likable rogues and rapscallions. Meanwhile, we're back with stars, we're back with power and control over things beyond the ken of mortals. The transmuter, is the coming of unexpected things or unforeseen consequences and chaos, while the illusionist is lies, it's conspiracies, secret societies, it's, to an extent, the presence of a saboteur. Hmm. I
Matti-
wonder if this is your past.
I was gonna say Matthias is staring at this like, what does why would why would you expect the illusionist in my past, Decimal?
I, well, I wasn't given all the details of, makes a vague gesture, um, toward his neck in, vampire,
Yep.
but from what I do know, he had rather the wide empire.
He nods and accepts that.
Roll insight again.
Yay! Hey, nat 20.
Good, 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 good.
So
Okay, so
that's
that'll
a
be what, 29?
yep.
Perfect. Hey, there's another interpretation that he's not saying.
Yeah. He Matthias frowns at you, Decimal, and just says, "If it's something you can't say, you can just say that, you know."
Well, that's the thing. Let's finish the reading, and then I will make a decision on whether or not I can't say it.
All right. He
Three,
takes a sip of his coffee.
three possible futures. The first one is the Three of Glyphs. It's the healer. Quite literally, healer. But this is interesting. It's the only Glyphs card in the entire reading. Glyphs is faith in inner strength. It's priests and those who devote themselves to service of deity or other higher power. It's willpower and dedication. It's also self-doubt and betrayal of ideals and beliefs. The healer is literally healing, as I said. Um, it can also represent a curse for those who practice the healing arts.
He's frowning again.
It's not a card I would particularly put as an outcome, but it's also the least important. Or, not necessarily least important, but the least likely, I suppose. Because the other two futures are the other two high cards.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize what one of these cards is. Fuck me.
Oh boy.
He puts a hand on the one in the middle of the three and goes, The executioner is the imminent death of one rightly or wrongly convicted of a crime. It also represents false accusations and unjust prosecution.
Oh. And, and the third?
Is the Raven. Hidden information, fortunate turns of events, a secret potential for good. Two positive outcomes, one negative. Well, one definitively positive outcome, one definitively negative outcome, and one that could go either way.
And the definitively positive is the least likely.
No, the definitively positive is the Raven. The Raven always symbolizes a sudden upswing in luck, so to speak. It's not like the Seer. The Raven is a positive card. The Healer is the one that could go either way. It leans toward the positive outcome, but it can in itself represent that which it fights.
Matthias nods, files that away. He's frowning at the whole thing. So, if I were to go with you, there's an equal chance something good or something bad will happen. Is that...
I think it's more likely to lean to the good. But yes, there is always the possibility of something terrible happening.
He nods. And about and the about the past then, is that... Can you share or can you not?
Roll insight with advantage.
Oh fuck. Oh god, that's a 1.
We're away from that one.
That's an 18, so that's a 27.
Decimal wants to tell you. He said previously, he's not a good judge of when someone should learn potentially emotionally charged information.
Yeah.
You can tell he wants to tell you. He's just not sure if he should.
Uh-huh.
And he's fighting with the Craigery that lives in the back of his head that he knows will go, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop."
Uh-huh. If... If you can't say Decimal, it's alright.
Fuck it.
What?
Fuck it. There was a long, long time ago an order, a religious order. I don't know what they were called. I only know this story secondhand from someone who witnessed it via a legend lore spell. There was a religious order a long time ago, and they lived or were based on the edge of Haruma. I think roughly like or close to where the border with the Luthby Alliance is now, but I'm not certain.
It was actually on the other side of the continent, but
Oh, I thought
yeah.
it was close enough. Okay, never mind,
Nope, it
Karen.
is not close to Ankwell. It is on
Well,
the other side of the continent.
he doesn't know shit.
Yep, it's fine. Anyway,
We have the out of character confirmation anyway. Anyway, yeah, I really don't know, but it got caught up in an erasure event, and almost every single person in that border died all at once because the deity did not want to die and broke the minds of all of its followers trying to find somewhere to hold on. It found somewhere. One of the followers got back up. They weren't the same person as they were immediately prior.
you can see the slow kind of. There's a connection being made. It's not the right connection yet, but you can see the connection being made and the slow dawning shock? Fear?
Ethel puts a hand on the transmuter and goes, unforeseen consequences and chaos in this freak accident, this sudden turn of nature. The person who that being was no longer. Instead, they became something else. A thrall to the deity that was so desperate to live.
That dawning fear fades into quick confusion as his head tilts.
The finger moves to the illusionist. That thrall worked for centuries, gathering power, gathering knowledge, trying to find a way. Trying to find a way to do something, involving eating a lot of magic. Ran conspiracies. Presence of a saboteur. The finger then moves to the swashbuckler.
Mm-hmm.
Likeable rogues and rapscallions. In the interim, somewhere between then and now, or rather, somewhere between then and a few years ago, another deity took notice and decided that the person that being had been previously didn't deserve to go out like this. And so she plucked that soul away, took away the memories, and put it in Viruma, in the body of a changeling who did not know who they were. A name.
Matthias. He is sitting very, very still. And he is processing all of this.
I won't ask you to understand why the others kept this from you. But I have something of an explanation if you'd like to hear it.
He just nods. I don't think he has words right now.
With the caveat that I'm not Lynn and I'm not Gregory. They were afraid. Not necessarily of you, but what this meant, what it could be, what you could be if you were the same person, if you would become them. I knew that you wouldn't, because I knew your voice from a fellow slave. And then, I think as time has gone on, it's just become... As they've learned you, learned who you are, what you're like, as you've learned who you are and what you're like, the secret of this sword has hung over their heads and they haven't wanted to risk it coming crashing down. I think they also thought you weren't ready for it. And perhaps that's true. I certainly wouldn't know. I'm not the judge of it. Never have been, never will be. But as someone who learned information and then reacted poorly, I can see why they would try to avoid that outcome. He's looking at Matthias.
I know, he is it's a stunned kind of silence. It's a lot of information that he didn't have that now he has, and there's there's a lot that's happening on his face. Because there's the there's the realization that he there's the big realization naturally that he is was the thrall, that he has their soul basically. I think that's actually more his interpretation, is he has their soul. um there's there's the shock of Decimal knowing all of this. There is the horror of knowing that he has Thrall's soul, and what little memoir mentioned of basically all of the things Thrall did to them, uh, which was very vague, but still. Um, and then there's also grief, because Matthias, you recall Decimal, Matthias, when they went to the Requiem, was hopeful to find information about himself, about his past, about, anything, if he had any kind of family or loved ones or anything like that. And now there is grief when he realizes that he did, but they're all gone. And he definitely has no one now. And you see his eyes water, and he very quietly says, I have their soul. I I It that am am I do they know?
As far as we're aware, they have no idea of you. And we'd like to keep it that way as long as possible for your own safety.
What if I and he looks down at the reading and seems to think, I I don't want you to go into that alone. Or, well, not. Winces. If I can do something to help with this, I want to.
Then we'll face them together. And if the others have anything to say about it, they can. And he like pauses for a second, rotates through all the insults that he knows, and then just kind of shrugs and goes, "They can eat Thrall's entire ass."
I think that shocks a bit of laughter out of him. Because Decimal, you can tell he is not okay. He's not. It's not the horrible spiral of when you confessed, which says something. I don't know what that says, but he's definitely not doing okay with this revelation, let's just say.
There is one more aspect.
He blinks, looks at you.
Gregory knows about this already. And Memoir does too.
What is it?
He goes to speak, closes his eyes, swallows, and he looks guilty. He looks guilty and horrified. It's all very, very subtle expressions on his face, but in comparison to how he usually maintains his facade, it basically could be a fucking blaring siren.
Yeah.
Um, it's blatant enough that even Gregory could pick up on it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Consistently now, the Thrall has skill. He
Yes?
the Thrall can see the future. He is. They are. I've felt their magic before, and I broke through it then, but I don't think I can do it again. they're going to use me to kill someone. And then I think they're going to make me turn on the rest of you. And as he says that, the light catches on his face because there is a single tear trailing down from his right eye.
Matthias sees that, takes it all in, and says, if that happens, then I definitely need to be there. Because if anyone can counteract that kind of controlling magic, it would be me.
Yeah. He just like leans forward, taps the healer and taps the raven. Uh he's a little bit overcome for words. You don't even need to roll for this. You can tell he's shit ass terrified of this
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah.
Um
And if he's trying to word it delicately, and then he just very makes a frustrated sound and just says, just say it poorly. If anyone can undo what the thrall causes to happen, I think it would be me. I've raised the dead before.
yeah. Wait, what? You can see the like there was a pause and then he actually like registered what you said and he was like, "Huh?"
Matthias looks at you very, very, like, very, very deadpan, and he just says, Decimal, at the ball, you basically died.
I wasn't dead though.
You were close
I was on the
enough.
verge of death. I was not dead though. That doesn't count.
I also have been, and he seems a little guilty on this one, but nonetheless, he pushes through. Well, be that as it may, I count it, and also there were times when I was captive that my skills were needed. It was the few times I was allowed to use magic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He turns from shocked in like the face journey from shocked into into yeah, okay, that makes sense. Kind of sort of understand. He empathizes with that more than he does like the whole like I'd be more scared not to try thing,
Yeah.
which is telling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he like registers that and nods. Uh yes. Yeah. I have a proviso in place for when that happens, but well, we'll see.
He nods. I, man, I don't know if he has.
Revelations.
Yeah, I don't think he's got any words. Like, he's still kind of like, there was that little detour, but then he kind of is sinking back into the, the like the shock, the surprise, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Decimal pauses, takes a swig of his hot chocolate, and then reaches across the table, and like puts a couple fingers on your hand, um, and goes, I can't claim to fully understand what's running through your head at the moment, but I want to be certain that you are certain on this. What they've done to any of us, to anyone else, what they might do in the future, that is not your fault. That it is not you who has done this. You and they are two separate beings. You have a shared origin, but you are as distinct to each other as I am to Raga.
He looks stricken, surprised, and as you speak, you notice that his he's finally started tears start to slowly trail down his face. He doesn't seem to realize it, but he's looking at you, Decimal, and he takes this in, and then he says, "But what if I end up like them?"
You won't. That's not a platitude either. You don't have a living, dead living something, deity perching in the back of your head, consuming all that you are, so you quite literally cannot become them, but you also have your better angels. Lynn and Craigery and Memoir. Has, maybe.
and
Mm.
and you.
Mm. Well, I'm better than the thrall, I will give you that, but I don't know if I can be called an angel.
You've got a moral compass, even if you don't seem to realize it.
I have limits I won't cross, so that's something very different.
Matthias cracks a small smile. Whatever you say.
Matthias,
Yes?
I wouldn't have entertained this if there was even the remotest chance of you becoming anything like them. If you cannot trust yourself, then at least trust in my ability to read people and my self preservation instincts.
I think that, more than anything, strikes a chord. And he looks at you, Decimal, and he really does mean it when he says, "Okay, I trust you."
God, you really do, don't you?
He gives a small smile. It's on the list.
Oh shit, it is. I even got a cross by it. I even got a tick by it. Oh my gosh. How about that? You can see he's like trying to quickly reconcile the fact that he is someone who can be trusted.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You see the moment where he's just like, right, I'm gonna fucking think about this later.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I feel we have gotten somewhat distracted, but now as let's um let me start that sentence again. Let us start as we intend to continue on. Can I buy you another drink?
Um, uh, yes. Yes. Of course. And the smile gets a little more, like, warm.
Perfect. I will be back in but a moment then.
Alright.
He like quickly grabs his cards back, shuffles them all in together, puts it back in his pocket. And as he's doing so, I'm going to roll for ham space again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fucking
Ha!
Jesus. God damn it.
Ha!
What the fuck is that? Where's your table at, you stupid son of a bitch? Do. Do. Uh. Oh, this works, actually. No, that's fine. He pulls out, fucking, um, a little silk handkerchief,
Mm-hmm.
and like just puts it on the table by your hand, and then goes inside to buy more drinks.
Aw. Matthias looks at it confused a second before he takes it and kind of fiddles with it, smiles to himself. It's to be expected. It's still a sad smile as, everything just kind of swirls around in his head. But he takes it. He's messing with it as he waits for Decimal to return.
I think that's a good place to end off before we have any other world-shattering revelations.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Oh boy.
Well,
Fuck. Fuck. Shit. Well, okay.
Decimal grabs a 40, smashes it on the ground, and yells, "Scatter!"
He did, and oh my god. Well. All right. I think that's it for our recording then. So goodbye, everybody. Jesus Christ.